burning a hole in my pocket, probably burning a hole in Boston's pocket. You talked about it before, right? Was there some irony here that why then they just trade Kyrie for Porzingis? Yeah, this could be a real interesting. It's not necessarily a matchup, but just a
I see what you
tale
mean. Yeah, yeah.
tale of two
Teams.
players,
Yeah.
tale of two players, right? That we had Porzingis in Dallas, supposed to be Luka's sidekick, didn't play out. Injuries was probably a big part of not getting chemistry and continuation on the floor and so on and so forth, missing playoffs. I spoke about before, like how many players, and you didn't necessarily answer me this because I don't think there is an answer to this, right? I don't think there's any player out there that has Luka's number. Yeah, if you're talking about, in that sort of matchup, I do not think there is a player out there that has Luka's number on any given night, specifically, especially over a 7 game series. Okay, but we've talked about in the past, yes, the Mavs have lost, and a lot of it has been because Porzingis was not there as his sidekick or 100%, and that was the role that he was brought into play. Then obviously he was moved on, and somehow he's obviously landed now with the Celtics when the Wizards didn't want him anymore, didn't need him anymore because they didn't rebuild, and somehow now Kyrie was a Celtic and did his whole full journey, and now he's at the Mavs, and we're now probably 99% sure they're going to be meeting in this 2024 NBA Finals. I don't know, man. It's a bit of an interesting full circle there, and I don't know. I think clearly the Mavs are the ones can't cop because the Celtics have inherited the exact concerns that the Mavs had about Kristaps Porzingis, and it's really unfortunate because they're the team that probably needs this one more, like we talked about last week.
Yeah, it is. It is funny how narratives obviously automatically come to play. As long as you keep deeping, but we don't have to dig too deep here. Kristaps is a team removed, so I think he went to the Wizards for a season and then ends up with the Celtics after the Dallas thing. Then Kyrie goes to Brooklyn and then ends up in Dallas. So there's been multiple spots. We've talked about this before. Teams, players are on their own journey, the fit at the time, the fit at that stage in their career, it's all those things. But yeah, look, Kyrie has a con. We talked about that when the trade was made. We're eating our words a little bit because I don't think anyone expected it to be this successful. And obviously, Kristaps was always a big asterisk in terms of injury stuff. Kyrie was always random, and can he be, reliable? Well, right now it doesn't seem like that's going to falter. He's going to be there in the NBA Finals, playing really well. And then it's Kristaps who can he be reliable? And the answer is no. And they both gambles. They're both gambles that helped position these teams to be in the NBA Finals. And unless Kristaps is ready to make a miraculous recovery and play all of the games in the finals, um, it just seems like Dallas took the risks. But then Dallas, the season is going to be fascinating here. I think not that we want to talk about finals projections yet, and I don't want to do the breakdown just now, but Dallas is definitely similar to, say, Toronto when they won the championship in 2019. They pick up their superstar. They only had half a season with Kyrie, if not less. And then they get the full season this season. But they also make the mid-season trade for Gafford and Washington. And Toronto did the same thing when they picked up Marc Gasol. That was when we talk about the mid-season trade deadline, it's never about getting the star player; it's about getting those role players. And Dallas just nailed those trades. And yeah, I mean, it's looking really good for the Luka Goat conversation right now. I think it's
Right.
sorry to Boston. I'm sorry, Boston. It's just you should have destroyed Indiana. I was ready to come on here after game 3 when they were down by 18 and just didn't seem to be chipping away at that lead, saying you can't be losing any games to a team that just lost their best player. And yeah, they ground it out and they got it at the end. But, Boston hasn't looked convincing against Indiana. They haven't been able to stop them defensively. Indiana's shooting 60+%. Um, so yeah, I think it's the Luca bandwagon's about to explode, and it's already a pretty populated bandwagon.
I feel like you're writing off Boston, but
Oh yeah,
we can break that down. Next podcast.
oh yeah,
I just think, yeah, it is interesting about narratives here. It's probably actually really. Look, I've never been a Kyrie fan. I don't know about you, man. Okay, a lot of people are Kyrie fans. They grabbed his shoes when he was with Nike, and they were big sellers, obviously, that then. And then, and then when all that controversy sort of occurred in Brooklyn, he lost his sponsorship. They sort of had to discipline him somewhat. Um, it was we were at a point where I was sort of like, oh, is this player just gotta sort of be someone you sort of just write off in that sort of sense. But then he landed in the right spot and he bought in. You could almost somewhat say he went back to Cleveland Kyrie, yeah, which is sort of exactly the role he needed to be. And now you're reading articles about him just being a great teammate, a great person, a great, just great, great all around, which is really positive to hear because let's be clear, this was not the narrative 12 months ago, yeah, 12, 18 months ago. So, and I think to capture another ring here would be a real redemption story for him to get one when he was a young one, and now he's this sort of towards the tail end of his career now, inevitably.